Yeah. Wow, it's Morgan. It's been a long time, Morgan. How are you? I see you're smoking as always. I hope everyone is doing well. Yeah. Good Morgan Monday. Guten Morgen Monday. I am okay. I did not finish my dinner, but it's okay. I ate most of it. And I think I should be able to finish it later. So that's good. I don't remember what we were doing, so your guess is as good as mine. Bam, bam. That's really, really loud. That should be better. Yeah, that should be better. Okay. What does this do? Oh, I see. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. The stage for the talent, pretty close to the floor. As it fits with the whole round table aspect of this place. Everyone's on more or less equal footing. Dancing in the dark once you get past the bouncer. Hello, Timpy. Hello, Sophie. I hope y'all are doing well. Good Morgan Monday. Wogue. Wogue. Restream strike. Wow. Thank you. I don't remember what voice I gave you. Everybody's getting a new voice today.
Do you think they might have met here?
David and Porter? I can't see David walking in here.
Because you found the walk so challenging?
Because it's too loud to relax. And not dark enough to be anonymous.
I see.
Daughter, I miss you. What's that face? You got an opinion to share? Every time I decide today is the day that I will play a visual novel on stream, I cannot speak. Why? Or why?
The atmosphere is not bad in here, but the music isn't quite...
I'll find you a survey to fill out before we leave. What kind of music does an android even like?
Early 21st century punk rock.
Is that just you, or does that go for all androids?
I haven't met all androids. I can't speak for them.
Wonder what they'd say.
If they're smart, they'd say that music peaked with early 21st century punk rock.
Debate settled. A bar stocked full of colorful selections and busy bartenders. Hope this isn't the kind of club you can order food in. Only time bar food is any good is when you're drunk enough to forget the taste and the gap between chewing and swallowing. So you can, like, eat things?
Yes, I can.
What, like android food?
There is no such product.
So what do androids eat?
Online user guides from Noble's Warm Models clarify that they don't eat anything in the traditional sense. They get their energy from electrical charging, usually wireless. Whenever they need to eat, it's to replenish specific vitamins and electrolytes.
Sounds a lot like what mod users go through with their sports drinks and energy bars. And charger separation anxiety. Oh, it sounds like the modern human with their phones.
According to the net, warm androids can ingest nutrient-rich processed carbohydrate pellets if they need to forego electrical charging long-term.
Processed pellets? You mean like kibble? Like dog food?
No, it is not like dog food at all.
Can you buy it from the pet store?
It seems you can.
How is this something you have to look up anyway?
Because I've always just eaten whatever father gave me.
Like what?
Marbled beef? Never hydroponic avocados? Foie gras?
Never Hydroponic is a movement calling for sourcing food exclusively from farms utilizing natural sunlight. Superior lobbyists have claimed superior taste or nutritional value, but it has yet to receive official state recognition. So it doesn't actually carry any weight and it's not backed by legal guarantee. One of the number of food sourcing movements that arose in the latter half of the 21st century as rising sea levels reduced the total amount of arable land around the world and shifted the global agricultural industry towards hydroponics and vertical farms. Rural skyscrapers where each floor is utilized for food production, saving on realistic costs and reducing the impact of unstable weather on agriculture. I see. So there are now mansions, skyscrapers that are just for farm. And it's all climate controlled. Fascinating. And then Never Hydroponic stresses that it's like naturally grown under natural sunlight.
That sort of thing.
I am not paying for any of that. So it's really freaking expensive. What kind of reading material gets left out in a club? A tabloid interview? Exclusive sit down with luxury. You've heard her name on everyone's lips. You've seen her face in magazines and commercials. And then double check to make sure the photos weren't labeled as edited. What is this? The mysterious young woman who's being called the most beautiful woman in the world. People think it's the name's an ego thing, but it was just a random username I picked back when I was grassroots. And it was a pseudonym to give me a little shade from all the attention. And now it's a brand. I can't change it without setting the stock market into a spin. That's crazy. After partnering with luxury, NT saw a 3,000% increase in share price. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. To be honest, it's a pain at times like this. No branding is visible on her stuff. Can't wear anyone unless I'm attending something. If I don't dress like this, all my sponsors fall into bidding wars every time I leave the house. Stress is bad for your skin, right? They say mine's flawless. Be a little bratty, act a little spoiled, keeps you young. What? Ivy, I hope you get to sleep soon. And I hope you had a good day. How old are you? Exactly, everyone's dying to know. 18 to 29, now and forever. Well, however old she is or isn't, luxury has got one hell of a mind for business. I'll say. It might do her more good than that face in the end. Maybe, it's one hell of a face. In the meantime, she's powerful. Some rises are too meteoric for even the Megs to grab the reins on. At this point, luxury's got them at her mercy. She can send their stocks into disarray with one selfie. Thank you. I hope it is fun too. Good for her. I would like to get to the court case, but I don't know if we'll get to the court case today. Okay, yeah, that's him, alright. Looks like he's killing time before his sets tonight.
Are you unsure how to proceed, Adonai?
I'm sure that you need to hang back. That's for me. Oh. Play it cool. Hey there. Hey. Let me save. Mafia Ren design is so cool.
Yeah! I am very happy about it. And I'm glad you like it too.
Some sick beats out there on the floor, right? Sick beats. Yeah, or whatever, man. The hell? Are you a friggin' cop or something? This isn't a cop bar. Oh, damn. How do you do, fellow kids? You aren't really dressed like a cop. But damn, you're media, aren't you? Friggin' vultures, man. Perhaps I should start over. My name is Morgan. I was David's friend. I'm currently his lawyer. Can we talk? Not here. Thanks, Isaac. Hello. September 18th, 183 cm. Centimeters, 86 kilograms B+. Musician and a bassist. He likes itineraries, grilling, and champagne. He dislikes resistance training, producers, and ads. He's the best at gift giving, and he's the worst at folding laundry. His favorite quote is, "I don't do requests." Don't like me yet. I might just sit here, shut my mouth, and stick you with my tab. So what kind of lawyer are you? What kind of friend? I'm his defense attorney. Think you missed the bus on that, didn't ya? And I'm a friend that needs to know what happened yesterday. Doesn't everyone? Try somewhere else, friendly lawyer. I haven't seen him in weeks. You might not have seen him. But we both know that you spoke with him over the phone yesterday, only a short time before he died. How the hell? Isaac. It's pretty obvious that you don't want this particular spotlight to linger on you any longer than necessary. So why don't we cut to the chase? No lies, no playing coy. Fine. Sarah?
Yes, Adonai?
The hell? Is that thing transmitting?
I am not streaming any data, no.
Porter doesn't seem to recognize Sarah either. One more person David was keeping secrets from. I need to record everything for the court. Fine. You two were together, is that correct? We were together. I ended it. Yesterday. Care to elaborate? On our entire relationship? Look, you can tell me everything once and I can get it on the record. Or you can hear the same questions over and over again from 1,000 different cops and megs for the next 3 months. We met in a bar. I'd seen him come in a few times, each time with someone else. Each time talking with his mouth but not looking with his eyes. It ticked me off. Scribbling on napkins and letting his single gin and tonic sweat on the table for 2 hours. His dates would all go to the bathroom or take a call and slip out the back. One of them didn't make it 10 minutes. And he'd still sit there the rest of the night, unfazed. Couldn't tell if he was oblivious or stupid or shameless or the most confident man in the world. And he ticked me off. One night things were slow and my set had been canceled, and his date hadn't even bothered to think of an excuse before bailing, so I asked him why he'd insisted on coming there night after night. Just to ignore vapid people he wasn't interested in at a shitty bar with drinks he didn't like. And he just said, "Because I like your music." Man, did that tick me off. It was cute, early on. Him being so passionate about work I could barely pretend to understand. And I liked that we gave each other space, you know? Felt like we were being mature or whatever. Until? There was no until. No one day where everything turned sour. But at some point I started to understand where his priorities were and how I ranked in them. Like I said, he was passionate about his work. I just wrongly assumed that he would also be that passionate about me at some point. So I pulled away a little, wanted to see if he'd notice, if he'd miss me. Testing him like that isn't the biggest red flag in the world. He never budged. I could ignore him for days and he wouldn't be the least bit ashamed to see me. If I picked a fight, he'd never get angry or upset. He'd just apologize. He didn't want to fight with me. Guess he was never invested enough to bother. It was my mistake. I watched him sit there all those nights not giving a shit when people walked away, and still I had this stupid idea that somehow, for whatever reason, I would be different. That I would be special. But I wasn't, so I ended it. Last night, I called him. Didn't expect he'd pick up. I had everything prepared to leave a message with an assistant or ad or whatever. But he answered first ring, without hesitation, shame, or awkwardness. And that ticked me off. I told him exactly how valued he had made me feel the past few months. I told him exactly how insignificant I felt as the boyfriend of the illustrious Dr. David Asher. And what did he say? He apologized. And then he asked me if that was all I called to tell him. Oof. I hung up after that. Spent the rest of the night wrapped in warm disdain for him and his coldness. He had made that easy for me. I went to sleep hurt but clean, ready for something new. And then this morning I wake up to see that my ex killed himself not 2 hours after he let me walk out of his life without so much as a don't. What the hell, man? What the hell, David? No, you're just the tip of an iceberg of liars and reporters and buzzards. Parasites who want to hear about the man who sent David Asher over the edge. I never wanted to be his last lifeline, or the straw that broke his back. I just wanted to be his goddamn boyfriend. Turns out that was asking for too much. It's yet to be determined whether David committed suicide. It's serious. You don't have all the facts. And you do? Any one of them point to anything else? Thought so. Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to it. That's it? No summons? The court has no need for you to retell a sad story like that. The court, huh? Sorry to bother you at work. Sarah, let's go.
Your discography is very impressive,
Yeah, thanks.
and your range is remarkable. So, it pained me to see that all your works in the last quarter have been so melancholy. I think
What the hell would you know about any of that?
I
What's the matter? Can't find the words? Need to steal them from somewhere first? Butcher them before shitting them back out? I was not trained on any data sets that... No, pardon me. My mistake, really. Not your fault. You're only standing here because rich prick nerds were allowed to rob the world blind for most of the century. Sarah, we are leaving. What the hell was that about?
He was under the false impression that I was programmed using a massive automated learning model in early 21st century.
Not that. Why'd you talk to him?
I wanted to. I just felt that I should say something to him.
A word of advice? People don't want comfort from strangers, especially when they're androids.
Oh,
They want it from the people they want it from. Coming from anywhere else, it's just corn syrup on a parched tongue. Doesn't matter how sweet it is, they'll just start gagging.
you know a lot about people, don't you, Adonai?
Compared to you, I'm a goddamn savant. Come on, there's not much time left.
Is there still somewhere you want to investigate?
Somewhere I need to return to, actually. Porter was right. As things stand, I don't have any evidence that could establish an alternative interpretation of the facts. But if there did exist hard evidence that could prove his death wasn't a suicide, there's only one place I could find it at this point. Oh, 516 July 1st, 2086. Noble Employee Housing Building. Platia. Penthouse basement.
The basement. You sure you don't want another look at the crime scene?
I'm a lot of time. Gotta approach this from the other angle.
The other angle?
You know, inductive versus deductive, flip the chessboard and all that. Haven't you ever read a mystery novel?
I've seen mystery film.
Well, let's see if you paid any attention then. Thank you for hanging out, Haru. I hope you are comfy. And I hope you get some rest soon as well. Excuse me. What killed David Asher?
Poison.
10 points.
There's a point system?
Now, how did that poison get into his bloodstream?
Oh, he must have ingested it orally.
And how do we know that?
The medical examiner found no injection marks or wounds.
And if he had inhaled it?
Inhaled it? What?
Leave the whys to someone who actually understands them.
I won't be able to understand anything if I don't practice.
Practice by answering my question.
I suppose it's possible, but highly unlikely. We would have found a delivery system for it in the building, like an inhaler.
Right. An airborne poison is either shoved in your face or sprayed over a wide area. And no one around David has shown any kind of symptom. So all we're left is oral intake.
Eliminating the impossible. What's next, Adonai?
Look at daughter. She's so excited. Jung's corroborated statement was that David didn't exhibit any irregular symptoms or behavior until he started drinking that night. And the police didn't find anything unusual in any of the food or drink in his home.
Except for his cup. The results were inconclusive.
Jung was drinking from the same bottle and the same type of cup but didn't get sick. We have to conclude then that David's cup alone was poisoned.
That all seems logical. And consistent with the police's theory of suicide. So, why are we down here?
Minus 10 points.
Back to 0?
David left the parlor and came back with whiskey and 2 cups. Jung told us as much, and apparently the cameras upstairs support her story.
So we have to conclude then that he got them both from this bar?
Better. 5 points. Did he also get the poison from the cabinet?
The police have been in here since we left. According to their ARCS file, they didn't find anything that matches the poison down here.
So the poison somehow went straight into his drinking cup then. I need to flip this around again.
But if you turn something 360 degrees, you're just back to...
If I were the prosecution, what would I want more than anything?
Yeah, she's a robot. She's an android like me.
Proof that David knowingly added the poison himself.
He wouldn't do that.
And you can make that claim because there's no video evidence to contradict you. How long was David off camera?
From 7:36 to 7:40 when he left parlor to get liquor from this bar.
So if we had David on camera for those 4 minutes and he didn't poison himself in that time?
He would have a perfect alibi for the crime.
Proving his innocence.
But, Adonai, We don't have footage of that. There are no security cameras down here.
I think there are.
What do you mean?
This whole building is coated head to toe in Penumbra security systems, courtesy of Noble. Every console, every corner, every android on every floor, it's all plugged into Penumbra. Except that.
That panel is...
Manufactured by Cotter Security Systems. Why would David put a console for a different security system in exactly one corner of his penthouse?
I've never given it much thought.
Well, it's been bothering me all day, but my curiosity alone can't scale a 64-digit wall.
You mean...
Signal hijacking or whatever you want to call it. Have you tried it before?
Why? It is illegal and unnecessary. Father would not... He would not have installed hidden cameras in his own home.
At the end of the day, I can't make you do anything. Well, actually, I probably can, now that you're registered to me. But aren't you the one who wanted to prove his innocence?
Eliminate the impossible. I will need your express verbal command.
Not like David can press charges against us at this point. Do it. Did you really need me to say that?
For the purposes of record keeping, yes.
If you...
I've gotten past the 64-digit code, and I have found cameras. There are a number of them embedded in the room's walls and ceilings. As you theorize, they are on a separate network from the rest of the building.
Where are they feeding to, if not the Penumbra system?
Behind my hibernation unit.
A false wall in the back of a safe.
I don't understand. Why would Father possibly have a hidden system of cameras inside his own home?
Well, you sweet summer child. Beats me. He was brilliant and more than a little odd. Throw in a little money and odd becomes eccentric.
I see. I think.
I don't. The hell was he thinking? What was he afraid of? Why didn't he come to me for... Time's short. Gather facts now and leave the computation for later. I love it when Morgan can compartmentalize like that. So is that the original?
It was appraised and confirmed to be genuine.
At least he didn't get ripped off. I'm a Philistine when it comes to this kind of stuff. What does an android see?
I see. A meeting. Or perhaps an encounter. Two apex forces of nature. Two kings of the forest. The stag and the tiger. I think.
Great. I'm officially less cultured than the robot. We're gonna look at everything again just for fun, because I need more chip. What did David even do with all this equipment? Dry his laundry?
What makes you so sure he wasn't exercising?
Did you ever see him use any of this crap?
No. But he must have used the weights when I wasn't looking, since he promised that he'd take better care of his health.
Sarah. These weights are all maxed out. David couldn't have put up numbers like these even if he was piloting a frame.
Don't be so sure, Adonai.
Pardon?
The following is a true story based on primary sources who were present for the event and its aftermath. Copenhagen, 1981, 8:10 a.m. local time. A towering man with the musculature of a world-class professional rugby player enters the Global Tanka Bank on Frederiksberg Plain. He explains to the bank teller that he has a bomb in his suitcase and that he wants his gym bag filled with unmarked bills. The security guard approaches him from behind with a nightstick and swings, but the man simply catches the weapon and bends it into a twisted knot with his massive, dinner plate-sized hands. When asked to describe the suspect to the police afterward, the teller had only this to say: "That man was all muscle." The rest of the bank heist proceeds without incident, and the man exits the building just as police arrive on the scene when suddenly, his suitcase explodes. But it's just a smokescreen. Local officers quickly recognize the ploy and rush towards the door, grabbing each of the hostages as they flee while desperately searching for the perpetrator. What they find instead is a diminutive, frail, sheepish young man, barely 160 centimeters tall, holding a gym bag full of money, with no recollection of how he got there. Renowned psychologist and trained hypnotist Dr. Werner Kurtzer wrote the following in his diagnosis: acute dissociative identity disorder. That's right, the man had a split personality. And so great was the disparity between his two halves that, when they switched control, he physically changed, becoming taller, bulkier, and capable of previously unthinkable feats of strength. So be careful what you say a man like Father can't do just because of how he looks on the outside.
Sarah, every single word you just said was false.
Huh?
Don't believe everything you read on the net.
Oh.
Oh, Sarah. What's the story with this anyway? Some kind of fault in the foundation?
I don't know. I've never noticed that crack before.
I wanna get those eyes checked.
There's nothing wrong with my vision. This crack just must have been created during my most recent hibernation.
How? Did David drop a weight? A bunch of times over and over in the same spot? Oh, that's sketchy. Very, very sketchy. The liquor cabinet this mystery hinges on. The police have been through it all by now, and they didn't find foreign contents in any of the spirits. No poison to be found here. Well, not that kind of poison anyway. In which case, can I make you anything?
Well, if they're offering, I'll have...
Sorry, you're way underage, aren't you? 2 years old or whatever?
Wait.
Took that one a lot worse than I expected. Cheer up. Maybe you'll find a mocktail if you climb to the top of the ladder.
This is a rolling ladder. A kind of step ladder, not a ladder.
Oh my god, the Ace Attorney reference. What?
Remember, a ladder extends, but a step ladder folds out.
And?
It's important to know the distinction.
I bet my life savings that this subject will never come up again, ever. Alright, let's refocus here. So there's some kind of hidden door behind your bunk bed, huh?
Essentially, though a bunk bed would imply a second or third.
How do we open it?
One moment. I see.
Got it open already?
I cannot open this door.
Oh, why?
It is a Tethys Basic Sturdicure.
That anti-hack feature in the name is real?
It's a closed system, Adonai.
How am I supposed to do now?
Strange. There was an if-then toggle enabled in the security parameters.
I don't follow.
When Father last adjusted the settings here, he made it so that the door would never open so long as I was hibernating.
And he made it so that I was the only one who could wake her up. Meaning this is a door that only I can open?
It'll be a 6-character password, some combination of numbers or letters. Did you and Father have any influential moments in your life that revolved around a 6-letter word?
Nothing comes to mind. Is there a code word that he knew only I could learn? Morgan? That would be funny.
M-O-R... Was that your name you just tried?
It's 6 characters, isn't it?
Yes, but it's not exactly secure, Adonai. Anyone who knew you and Father were close could have tried guessing it.
But not everyone. It's Adonai. Of course it's Adonai. Because he told Sarah to call Morgan Adonai.
It's opening. What was the password, Adonai?
You'd never guess. Did feel a bit out of character, David utilizing so much cloak and dagger tech. Let's save really quickly since we've switched places. And I've definitely been struggling with the idea of him doing home improvement. But one step in here and it all makes sense. It's a panic room.
Scary.
A panic room is a place for rich people to hide in when people start bouncing bricks off their windows. They're typically not even on the blueprints.
So, when Noble built this penthouse for one of their executives,
Someone slipped this into the mix, and it's remained a Noble's blind spot ever since. All David had to do was repurpose it. Make sure you're capturing all of this. I don't want to miss my one chance because of a discovery technicality.
I understand, but you needn't specify. My memory is flawless. I can play back visuals, sounds, sensations. I can even give detailed reports on our air particulates.
You mean you can smell?
Better than any human. And some canines.
So does it smell stale in here to you?
Stale?
It doesn't to me. Almost like someone's been in here recently. Almost like someone visits here frequently. Alright, let's try booting up the computer.
You don't think the console is password protected?
2 physical doors, a 64-digit code, a half-ton Android, and a secret phrase. If David set a password on his PC after all that, I'm going back to the morgue to have a word with him. Good, it's already signed in.
You're looking for camera footage?
I'd also settle for a note plainly stating that he feared for his life. Mm-mm. What am I doing? Here, you search for video files. They'll probably be timestamped and formatted for short-range devices. Buenas noches, Fide. ¿Cómo estás?
I have a subfolder. The cameras stream live data constantly, but the files are clipped at fairly regular intervals. Once every week, it seems. The most recent video file here has footage going back 8 days. It was accessed yesterday at around 4 p.m.
You were asleep by then, so the only person who could get in here at that time is David himself. Alright, let's see it then.
Of course, it's just that I am having difficulty.
Try double-clicking.
I have been trying to open the files from the moment I discovered them, Adonai, but they are encrypted.
Damn it, David. You leave me enough clues to get this far, but you won't let me use your computer. What's the brand on the encryption program? If I rush a subpoena, they might have a backdoor I could bluff them into.
These files were not encrypted with any commercially available tool. This appears to be Father's own work.
Shit. If David Asher handwrote the encryption on these files, there's no one alive who could... Hey. Was DOS just flattering you back there? Or is your processing power really that special?
Adonai?
Can you break his encryption, yes or no?
With enough time.
And how much time would that be?
I would estimate it at 2 to 6 hours.
That's a 4-hour window.
No matter how sophisticated, encryption is still just a code that must be deciphered. And when deciphering any code, progress proceeds exponentially, which makes it particularly difficult to determine the amount of time required to complete the process.
2 to 6 hours. I don't have any better options. Get started.
I started 4 minutes and 23 seconds ago.
Finally showing some initiative. But you've been talking to me this whole time.
I have the ability to analyze data in parallel by utilizing subconscious processes, so long as the work required is rote.
Oh, you're doing it in the back of your head?
Actually, I'm speaking to you in the back of my head. I could give a decryption, process my full undivided attention, but I would become non-responsive.
Hey, that's a pretty nifty feature. I'll have to keep that in mind. Alright. Can you take this show on the road, or do we have to rip this computer out of the wall and find a battery?
I have copied the encrypted files and we'll work on them as we travel. We can leave when you're ready.
Still can't believe David let me get this far. Just to shut the door in my face at the last second. But he did let me get this far. And the computer is not the only thing in here. The cabinets are a lot less eye-catching than his computer, but knowing David, that's all the more reason to check. Lots of paperwork, bonds and holdings, a platinum bar. His birth certificate would be nearly as valuable. Can't imagine what people would pay to steal David Asher's identity. And down here at the bottom, a binder. Noble's logo on the front and in the middle. Enough pages to dwarf one of those yellow pages. They're masking it in legalese even on the table of contents, but basically this is his employment contract. A binder containing the full text of David Asher's employment contract. Not a light read. Hold on to this for me.
It must be very important if you're giving it to me.
It's certainly very heavy.
Was there anything else in there?
Expecting an updated copy of Isabel to show up?
It is a possibility, isn't it?
Maybe in a corny old murder mystery.
The widely beloved and respected genre with over 2 centuries of...
There is something else. Your papers.
That Evangeline Morgan be given immediate and complete ownership of the android designated Sarah.
It's dated to a few weeks back. Had he already made up his mind about all of this? He had. Why'd he hide this where no one else can find it? Was I just a backup plan? Well, at least we've got something a bit more concrete than Starling's word now. A tax-free transaction, fortunately.
Her word should be plenty, shouldn't it?
Not if people realize how precious you are. As a collector's item. We've yet to meet one person who knows what the hell you are. But Notable could have easily argued that you fall under private technology or physical holdings. Unless I had something like this.
It's good that you do, then. I'm glad that Father wanted me to go with a friend of his.
Yeah. This'll give me a huge tax write-off when I donate you to a for-profit college.
You could at least pick a charitable institution.
It's just an old saying. All colleges have been for-profit since the 60s.
That doesn't make me feel any better.
You can share up in the car. Hail us a ride to the courthouse. Priority.
There is an upcharge at this hour for priority transportation.
That's irritating. But I'd like to have more than just a few minutes to prepare once we get there.
The upcharge is a multiplier of 5.7.
Oh. I'll prepare on the way over.
Very good, Adonai.
5:48.
Does it excite you? Going into a courtroom?
What do you mean?
You don't feel the tension in the air as the audience murmurs amongst themselves? You don't feel a fiery sense of justice rising in your gut as the prosecution smirks at your ragtag assembly of witnesses?
Do you really think this is going to be like some kind of movie where the good guys save the day?
Probably not. Though that would be nice if it were.
What's your deal anyway? Did David train you off of a movie marathon from hell or something?
We did watch films together, if that's what you're asking. Though he was rarely the one who suggested it.
So you were the aggressor. What's an android get out of watching a flick anyway?
What do I get?
Why do you do it? What's your reason?
Hmm, I'm not sure how to answer your question.
Never mind. Forgot what I was talking to.
Ugh.
Hmm.
I like the performances.
Sure, there you go. Got a crush on Humphrey Bogart or something.
He's a handsome man. But it's not the actors I like so much as their performance.
Hmm.
The truth is, besides father, I have very little experience when it comes to people.
I hadn't noticed.
I read the net and I watch people and what they share of their lives. But it's all so subtle, so hard to follow. There are so many unspoken rules that can't be taught, only learned, and I often struggle to grasp them. They're all so complex, so detailed. But the characters on screen are exaggerated, larger than life. The actors enunciate, their body language is precise and meaningful. Their faces are bright and softly lit, and their eyes are. It's fiction. So these characters and their stories, they have a beginning, a middle, and end. And the people on screen don't ask anything of you except your attention. You can't disappoint them or make them feel awkward. You can just watch and learn.
Hmm.
But what about you, Adonai?
What about me?
Do you like movies?
Sure. Back when I was a kid.
Really? Who's your favorite director? Who's your favorite film?
It was a long time ago. I don't remember. That's a lie. I have a conspiracy theory that Morgan learned how to people through movies just like Sarah. They are more alike than she would like to think. Things are quieter than I expected here at the courthouse. We reached the courthouse! Though I've always felt courthouse is a bit of a misnomer. Government building is probably the best way to describe these towers. All-encompassing and impenetrably vague. 100 floors of officials and documents and paper-pushing queues, with a couple dozen courtrooms squeezed in along the way. Didn't think I'd be arguing in court when I woke up today. Didn't think that my friend would be dead or that he'd have thrust an android onto my lap either. I could just walk in there and concede. Emma would be irritated and more than a little confused, but I could play it off as an exercise in grief. The android would complain loudly, of course, but I wouldn't have to listen to it. Now that it's registered in my name, I could probably just order the damn thing to reset its memory. But I haven't done that. And I guess I don't plan to. Why? Must be because I have my suspicions as well. Sarah insists that David would never commit suicide, and I haven't actually stopped to ask myself whether or not I agree. David was rational, subdued, private, hard on himself, and not prone to emotional outbursts. So maybe that's why I'm finding myself outside a courtroom, prepared to humor and add suspicions before the state, because I don't really believe David killed himself either. What's your progress bar at?
I can confirm that I am making progress.
Well, shit, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
But it would be difficult to summarize that progress in terms of a completion in percent.
Give it your best shot anyway.
4%.
Thank you for the care kit, everybody. Strict. Hydrate.
Are you feeling confident in your case?
Markedly less so after hearing that.
Do you think the judge will be amenable to your argument?
What are you talking about?
Do you know the judge we've been assigned? Are they particularly lenient or strict?
Adjutants are always a coin flip, so
Uh,
you do know what an adjutant is, don't you?
uh,
Are are you expecting to see a bearded old man with a robe and gavel when we get in there? Oh my god, another Ace Attorney reference.
should I not?
Adjutants are android judges, okay? With all the authority that entails. Automated dependents that preside over trials for the state. Wow. They use the nonary system for rendering their judgments and building consensus. Because each of these 9 personas are constructed by a different think tank or institution from across the political spectrum. Ideological contamination in adjutant units is practically impossible. What the heck?
I am surprised to hear that people are willing to accept rulings made by automated dependents.
Rulings come from landmark cases in the higher courts. Those are passed down by actual judges, real people with decades of study and experience. But not every eviction case or traffic ticket that ends up in court requires years of legal expertise. Sometimes all you need is a referee and a sentencing algorithm.
Oh, androids are used to reduce caseload?
Been that way for decades.
But how was a law that replaced judges ever enforced? Wouldn't there be injunctions? Stalling?
Judges did fight it for years at every level and in every theater. But the public lost their patience for that kind of obstruction during the 60s. The state needed to shred budgets across the board, and so judges that couldn't be replaced by years of legal battles were instead ushered into early retirement by the unrelenting force of our great nation's accountants.
And it's not controversial? Having machines determine sentencing for human beings?
Whatever controversy there is, it gets aimed at the machines, not the people who put them there. And the machines can't lose sleep over it. Besides, it used to be that even the most high profile of crimes wouldn't get a court date until weeks or months later. Nowadays, most crimes are prosecuted within a single business week.
And that's not rushing thing?
Keeps people in my line of work on their toes, that's for sure.
I'm just surprised to hear there's so much haste.
Don't they teach you about classical conditioning in android school? You gotta feed the dog immediately after you ring the bell. If punishment doesn't follow the crime in quick succession, the lesson doesn't stick.
I see. But if adjutants are so effective, why aren't they used in every tribe? Why aren't they used in politics?
That's a logical question to ask.
And the answer is?
The logic only gets you so far when it comes to people.
Doesn't everyone want the courts to be as just as possible? If adjutants are truly impartial and incorruptible,
Everyone wants justice, sure. But there are other considerations to be had.
such as
Discuss.
what?
That's all people really care about. What all their morals boil down to. Just what they do or don't find disgusting. Ugh. Only problem is, everything's more palatable when viewed through a screen. So when everyone sees the world through AR and cameras and no one ever gets dirt under their fingernails, you'd be surprised what you can get away with.
I don't understand.
Yeah, well, therein lies the problem. There is going to be an ad soon. There's going to be an ad soon. So, we are going to pause here. I'm going to save because we're also in the card room. Yay! I'm going to go feed the cat. It will be about 10-ish minutes if he doesn't find the steroids and spit it out. Yeah, grab a drink, a snack, a blanket, walk around for a bit, and I will be back shortly. I am back. Hello. El gato is also back. And wanting snack, even though I just gave him dinner. Oh, careful. What did you trip on? You punctured a hole in my pants. How did you do that? I think I have to... That's impressive. I wasn't... Getting a hole in my pants was not on my bingo card today. What is it on the table? I guessed that and then he licked his lips. Hello. Yes, I know. You're so hungry. You literally just ate. You wanna say something to stream? No. No. You just want treats. Yeah. Okay, bye. Alright, back to Of the Devil. Maybe perhaps I can stream for a little longer today. We shall see. Just a preliminary hearing, huh? You wouldn't know it from the look on her face. But I shouldn't have expected any leeway once we stepped into the courtroom. Not with her.
That's the adjutant up there? Is it asleep?
It's loading. Whoa. Hello?
It needs to load?
Don't be rude. Not every ad can afford to be decked out as extravagantly as you. Especially not those the state buys in bulk.
There's an audience.
You mean the gallery? That's nothing. It could have been a lot worse. Word of any trial in the case of David Asher's death must have spread like wildfire. Even a mock trial like this. Detectives like Reyes or London would get chewed out for leaking things to the press. But uniformed officers had little to lose and a lot to gain by dropping a text to their attentive friends in the media. And then there's the corporate plants. Interns, usually. Preferably ones with modded eye. It's illegal to film inside a courtroom, but this is the year 2086. Things are gonna get out one way or another. I don't like having my face on camera. I don't like attention in general. But I'm not such a coward that I'd skip David's funeral just because there'd be paparazzi outside of it. My pretty little likeness was gonna end up in the background of some tabloid photograph one way or another by the end of the circus. At least this way it's decent marketing for my legal services.
What will happen once the adjutant finishes loading? How will the trial proceed?
With all those films you watch, I'd figure that you could extrapolate.
I am asking so as to correct any misconceptions.
Well, not everything you saw on the silver screen is outdated. The court will come to order and there will be a clarification of the charges. The defense enters a plea, and if it's not guilty, the prosecution begins making their case.
That means calling witnesses to the stand, correct?
Mostly. Sometimes they'll testify virtually from a separate location. Depends on the security concerns surrounding the particular individual in the case.
What do you do then? Sit here and watch?
Not if I want to get paid. I cross-examine witnesses after the prosecution are done questioning them. I can present evidence or witnesses of my own in response, as long as I have discovery backing me.
You've said that before. Discovery means...
Just that I can't pull stuff out of my pockets and present it without any kind of contact. I have to have proof that I acquired it legally during the course of my investigation. Most of the time, that means having recordings or witnesses that can verify my investigation.
which I can provide.
You didn't think I was letting you tag along because I liked you, did you?
And the jury? I don't see where they would sit.
The jury hasn't sat in the actual courtroom for years now. They have their own chambers where they watch a feed of the trial's proceedings in anonymity.
And that's not an issue? Don't people want to look someone in the eye before passing judgment on them?
You've got an old-fashioned sense of justice, don't you? But there's no jury at a preliminary hearing anyway. It's only meant to evaluate whether or not the prosecution has enough evidence to go to trial. A mere formality in today's day and age. With tools like optics and arcs, there's never any shortage of evidence to work with.
So, all you have to do today is convince the adjutant?
Easier said than done. Adjutants lean heavily towards evidence over argument. And right now, all the evidence suggests that David killed himself. If it's going to be an uphill battle, I can't afford to stumble. I need to focus on establishing an alternate interpretation of the fact, and it needs to be solid. But I don't have a suspect, or even a motive for killing David, yet. Anyways, I'll need to be sharp. Emma doesn't play nice enough for me to be anything less.
Hey, I think it's waking up.
And time to save and time to hydrate. I probably should have grabbed water during the ad break because I'm running out of water. This third lower court is now in session. Adjutant AD_84 presiding. I call to order the case of the people v. Asher. Do the people wish to make an opening statement? No, Your Honor. No point in bothering when it's just the adjutant here. Very well. Do the defense wish to make an opening statement? Not at this time, Your Honor. Might as well ring the bell and get this show start. If neither the people nor the defense wish to make an opening statement, there's something. There's a really loud ring. Then it falls to me to set the stage. My model name is Adjutant. My unit designation code is AD_84. I am a machine, an automated dependent, and I serve the state by presiding over trials. You might find yourself wondering, why? What gives a machine the right to judge a human? A fair question, but the answer is simple. In every culture, in every society, no matter how it is worshipped, enshrined, or deified, justice has one defining quality. Well, Morgan insisted on having the dead guy be tried for his own death. Justice is beautiful.
Like a balanced equation. Like the golden ratio, like the Vitruvian man.
Oh wait, it's not Sarah. Sorry, wrong person. Like a balanced equation, like the golden ratio, like the Vitruvian man. Justice is beautiful. So, what gives me the right? This gorgeous spot. Whatever, forget it. Forget I said anything. I was trying to lighten the mood, but I can see everyone hates me. Do the trial without me. They're guilty or whatever. Your Honor. Wait, what the flip? This defendant's already dead. Why are we doing this? This is a debug thing, because I'll log the error if I need to. No, Your Honor. This is a preliminary hearing to determine whether David Asher did in fact commit suicide as he... I get it. I want to make sure he wasn't cuckoo in the cranium before you cut up his wheel like a T-bone.
I didn't realize that adjutants were so lively.
They aren't. They're supposed to be austere and statuesque. Looks like we got served the most in need of repairs adjutant the court system could find. Whatever paper pusher we rushed to get this trial going must have wanted a little payback for the kindness. What's that look for? Could it be you're trying to size me up? Wouldn't dream of it, Your Honor. Good. Because if you have doubts about my ability to run this trial, I could always enact summary judgment here and now. I'm sure you'd find my ruling to be fair and even-handed. That won't be necessary, Your Honor. She's much more of a character than I'm used to seeing up there, even counting all the flesh and blood judges I've met. But she's still just an adjutant. She'll follow the evidence where it leads, so long as I can make a few adjustments for the occasional outburst from the bench. My plan's still workable. So, people, shall we get started with that first witness? Right away, Your Honor. The people call Dr. Yumi Sato to the stand. I don't have enough girl voices for this.
It's Yumi.
Oh, hey. So how about it, pretty lady? You swear to tell the whole and unadulterated truth to the best of your ability? Holy cow, I cannot speak. I do. Good enough for me. Dr. Sato, you were in charge of the autopsy for David Asher, were you not? I was. And when did you make your examination? I started last night. Well, technically 1 a.m. would be very early this morning. I think you can still say last night if you're talking about 1 in the morning. Objection. The defense will have their opportunity to cross-examine. Until then, they should refrain from making errant remarks. The hell? All I said was... Yeah, what she said. You mean sustained? Don't get cute with me, counselor. Well, being cute is my job. God damn, we've barely gotten started.
That seemed pretty bad, Adonai.
Heads up, making mistakes will increase your blind. Blind is how much credit you'll lose for answering incorrectly when you yourself aren't controlling the ante. Blind increments on its own throughout the trial as the stakes get higher, or resets at the end of each day. It starts in caps at a higher number. Excuse me. If you're playing in high roller, find the blind number in the top left when it appears. It helps you gauge what you stand to lose. No, it's -1 right now.
We should try to avoid being penalized in the future.
Thanks for the tip. Shake it off. I'll get my chance to raise objections of mine soon. Enough. Dr. Sato, were you able to determine the cause of death? He passed away due to respiratory failure. Could you explain what that means to the court? Essentially, he wasn't getting enough oxygen into his blood. It seems by the time he arrived at the hospital, he was no longer breathing. What does respiratory failure look like? What are the symptoms? There would be lightheadedness, dizziness, fainting, pale skin, and a bluish tinge around certain extremities. And the condition he was in matched those symptoms? Correct. In your experience, what are the most common causes of respiratory failure? It can be caused by injury or disease, but the subject had no wounds or reported illnesses, and otherwise appeared to be perfectly healthy. And what else could cause respiratory failure then? It is also commonly seen in fatal drug overdoses. Drug overdoses. Did you perform a tox screen on Dr. Asher? Yes, but his tox screen came back clean. Whatever killed him, it wasn't something we've encountered before. Wait, a clean tox screen? Clean? Dialogue will proceed automatically during testimony, but you can still choose to advance text manually with continue. You'll need to read carefully and wait for the witness to make a statement that sounds wrong, then hit the call button to call their bluff. Hover over the call button or toggle in Insight to focus on the claims within a witness statement. Testimony will loop until you call. Can't let this chance slip by. I need to catch her mistake the second it comes out of her mouth. Whiskey. David's contract. Upright cup. Whoa. That doesn't make sense. Because at the very least, he drank alcohol. Wanna bet? It's impossible for David Asher's talk screen to be clean, and we all know it. Since he was on camera drinking alcohol the night that he died. That makes sense. And that scared you? The witness merely misspoke, Your Honor. As it plainly states on the tox report itself, Dr. Asher did have alcohol in his blood, but not at such a concentration as to be lethal. Yeah, my bad. When I said the tox screen was clean, I just meant it didn't tell the attending physicians? Physicians? Anything they didn't already know. Overall, a little more nitpicky than I'd like to be, but at least I was able to balance the momentum more or less. Shall we continue, Dr. Sato? If the tox screen was negative for pharmaceuticals and drugs, what caused Dr. Asher's respiratory failure? During my autopsy, I analyzed his blood and was able to isolate a foreign compound. So there was a lethal dose of a drug inside his body. It just happened to be a drug that the hospital had never encountered before. That's correct. I think we're all going to get tired pretty fast if we don't at least pick a placeholder name for this substance, Your Honor. The people don't object, Your Honor. In that case, I'll put all my creative heuristics to work coming up with an original, scientific fitting name for this substance. A name like Omega. Omega-3. The fish oil?
That name is already taken.
Fine, call it Delta or whatever. Delta, used in science to denote an unknown variable. Not bad. Delta has other meanings when it comes to drugs, but yeah, our Delta matches no known public pharmacology or toxicology records. That being said, chemically it does have all the hallmarks of a general depressant. I know the feeling. So it stands to reason that it would exhibit a similar effect on the body when ingested. You say ingested. Why? I eliminated all other possibilities during my examination of the body. He must have swallowed it, and judging from his stomach contents, it must have been a liquid. Thank you, Dr. Sato. Shall I summarize things for the court? Yes, please. I wasn't listening that closely. The victim died of respiratory failure, and his tox screens showed that his blood was clear of anything that could cause respiratory failure, except for this unknown substance. The poison we've labeled Delta. Well, that sounds like a textbook suicide. Should we wrap it up here? Not quite yet, Your Honor. This may clearly be a poisoning, but there's at least one detail about this case that doesn't feel like a suicide at all. あるの? 何? Young's testimony? Having somebody next to him, maybe? The people shouldn't get ahead of themselves. There's nothing textbook about a supposed suicide that had a witness sitting there watching it happen. As you say. Well, now I'm lost. Was this poisoning a suicide or not? If that's the case, then perhaps we should give the defense the opportunity to cross-examine. Unless they're going to insist on testifying themselves. How kind of you to offer. Ball's in my court now. So how do I counter? Emma's argument basically goes as follows. David ingested the... 何これ? I'm going to save. I don't know what this means. David ingested the Delta knowingly, and the Delta caused his respiratory failure. He died of respiratory failure. Thus, David committed suicide. Holy cow, I can't talk. During blackjack, every piece of information you learn deals you a card. Choose only the questions that are logical and relevant, and only press if you think a line of questioning is worth continuing, or else you'll go bust and lose credit. Select the press option to see what the follow-up question will be. You can only win blackjack when you reach exactly 21. So don't press further if you're already there. And don't ask the wrong questions. With my cross-examination, I need to put a microscope over the weakest part of that argument, and hope that some cracks will appear under the pressure. The argument is David ingested the Delta knowingly. The Delta caused his respiratory failure, and he died of respiratory failure, so David committed suicide. I think it's the first part. Are you sure it was ingested knowingly, specifically? But Dr. Sato, you said that the subject had to have ingested the Delta orally. But how sure can we actually be about that? Pretty sure. I mean, I could go into details about all the cavities that I checked, but I have no idea. But how can we be how sure can we be that the subject ingested the Delta knowingly? Well, we can't be sure of that. Certainly not just from an autopsy. You said it must have been a liquid, yeah? Would have been a large amount? Depends on the concentration of the delivery solution. It could have been just a drop. The kind of thing that could easily go unnoticed, yes? Calls for speculation, Your Honor. Withdrawn. Oh man, I wanted to jump on her case. We know that it's definitely respiratory failure, so it has to be the other thing, right? Dr. Sato, you were only able to even identify the presence of this Delta after hours of work. Can you really be sure that this never before seen chemical can cause respiratory failure? Well, I have had time to run simulations, and they do give every indication that it would act as a depressant. Ingest enough of any depressant and respiratory failure would occur. I have no idea how to get to 21. You ran simulations? So you haven't tested Delta on an actual person? No, I haven't. That would be very difficult to do, given our extremely limited sample. Not to mention highly unethical. Of course. But without such a test, you don't actually know for sure that Delta can cause any of the symptoms you've described. Was there a question in that statement, Counselor? You don't actually know for sure, do you? No, not yet anyway. Seems like that. Blackjack. I looked out on that one. I have no idea how I got there. Thank you for your time, Dr. Sato. We all appreciate it. But it does seem like we're still in the dark about many details regarding Dr. Escher's death, wouldn't you say? Well, poisoning via the compound we're calling Delta is still the most likely explanation. So there are other explanations for what happened? Defense is calling for speculation, Your Honor. It's not speculation when a medical examiner is attempting to explain the cause of death, Your Honor. The witness will answer the question. Well, respiratory failure can be caused by illnesses. If he had undiagnosed pneumonia or some other disease and his respiratory system was weakened. Undiagnosed pneumonia. With his level of health care, it is technically possible. I'll take it. I have no more questions for this witness. Ugh, that felt weak, but I can't be picky when I'm stalling for time. Seeding doubt wherever I can, however I can, is just about all I can manage. We are now at the second witness. This is exciting. Detective Reyes, you were one of the leads in investigating this crime scene. Yes, ma'am. And did you interview the EMTs who first arrived on the scene? I did. They responded to an emergency signal from the home security console, located in the kitchen. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. What did they find when they arrived on the scene? The victim was unconscious on the floor of his parlor. He was receiving CPR from a witness, the individual who had called them. They were both airlifted to Gatesfield Memorial Hospital, and Dr. Asher was declared dead shortly after arriving there. How did Jung do... Jung did CPR? It doesn't say whether she did CPR or not. She's actually handling herself pretty well up on the stand. I have expected her to roll her eyes during the swearing-in. But when you take into consideration her love for boot-heel authority, it might be right at home here in the courtroom, the very seat of the state's power over the people. The witness met with the deceased about a half hour before he fell ill, from 7:30 to 8 p.m. The two of them talked for some time and shared a drink. Shortly after, Dr. Asher became distracted, lightheaded, and eventually non-responsive. And during the same time period, drinking the same liquor, this witness exhibited no symptoms himself. None. Through a collaborative effort with Noble Electronics Security Division, we searched the entire building, but we found nothing unusual in any of the food or drink on the premises, including the bottle that the witness and the deceased drank from. So what was your ultimate conclusion after investigating the scene? The whiskey bottle was clean. The witness's drink was clean. Only person who got sick was Dr. Asher, drinking from a cup that he had prepared. So it was our determination that David Asher committed suicide by poisoning himself. She's pretty tight-lipped up there, but I think she slipped up at least once. The police wanted to claim that they've eliminated every other possibility and covered every angle. But I know that there are a number of blind spots that they're not willing to admit to. Upright cup. David's cup and poison? Huh? He is the one who prepared the drink, and there was no opportunity for the witness to ever slip him something. He drank from a cup that he himself poisoned. Um, I think it was the one where he himself poisoned? Because we don't know that. You can't make that claim. Not when the evidence record clearly shows that tests of Dr. Asher's cup were inconclusive. The police can't claim he drank from a poisoned cup without first proving that his cup was, in fact, poisoned. You're talking a lot of sense, lady. Does it resolve? Or do you have a response, D.A. Rockford? Testing on the deceased's cup has been inconclusive so far, Your Honor. I don't dispute that. Though I'd be surprised if the defense has any idea how else the poison could have possibly been delivered to Dr. Asher alone. I think I start yawning whenever I try to speak with Emma's voice. Not at this time. But that's the funny thing about the burden of proof. It's not on the defense. As we're all aware. Right, we all knew that. I definitely knew that. Now, if the people are done bemoaning that pesky innocent until proven guilty issue, perhaps I could begin my cross-examination? Fire away, baby.
Fire away?
Baby. Rhea's testimony is meant to show that David's the only one who could have poisoned himself. She'll be on guard and hard set against helping me, but if I keep her focused on eliminating other possibilities, I could get her to make my point for me before she even realizes what happened. I am gambling every time. David is the only one who could have poisoned himself. Or could he have been poisoned off camera? Possible. I don't know how else it would have been done, but that just goes to show it had to have been suicide. The only time he was... freak. That's not where I wanted to lead the situation. Anyone else in the building? Yeah, there was no footage in the house of anyone else. Are there any parts of the house that aren't recorded by camera? Sure. There are a number of rooms in the home's interior that don't have cameras in them. So it's possible that there were other people there that night, because cameras weren't watching every room. No, that's not possible. The only way up to the penthouse is through the building's elevator or the fire escape stairs, both of which are on camera. And that still wouldn't get you past his front door, which is also on camera. No one besides the two of them was there that day. Are you sure? What about before that day? Then we would have seen them leave, again through the front door. God damn it. Or we would have found them during the course of our investigation of the house. Your Honor, I believe we've exhausted this particular line of questioning. Not that exhausted, goddammit. Detective, we've been doing a lot of assuming and reasoning in quick succession, so I'll ask this plainly for the court. Is there any photographic evidence showing David Asher adding anything to his drink that night? No. Seems he had already poured for the both of them by the time he returned to the parlor. He had already poured. In that case, the next questions need to be when and what. Detective Reed, during the course of your investigation, did you find any samples of Delta in the kitchen or parlor? No. That was a fast answer. Well, it was a pretty easy question. If we had found poison at the scene of the crime, that'd be pretty important, don't you think? What about his lab, his bedroom, his basement? Oh, no and no. We didn't find Delta or any other unusual substance in any part of his penthouse. Right. They never found any poison. No poison at all. At any point in the investigation was poison found on the body of the deceased? No. He must have been searched. Did he have any capsules or vials, eyedroppers? Didn't even have his wallet on him. Why? Thank you for enlightening the court about this point, Detective. What point? Well, I think it's strange, don't you think? I mean, how could he have possibly poisoned himself without first procuring some poison? Oof, I lost a lot of chips for that one. What do you mean procure? Where did it come from, Detective? The poison that you're so sure was dissolved in his drink. It can't have come from thin air, you understand. It had to have been in another container at some point. Whatever it was in before, it probably evaporated. All of it? It only took a small droplet to kill. Your Honor, are you going to ask them to keep it civil? In a minute, sure. There wasn't any pill bottle in his bathroom or syringe in his pocket containing this apparently deadly substance. So how did he get it? What did he keep it in? The police want to claim that Dr. Asher committed suicide because they've established that his guest never had an opportunity to kill him. But they failed to prove that the victim had the means to kill himself. And I guess I'll be the one to move things along. The Delta didn't come out of thin air, Counselor. And it didn't come from a syringe either. Dr. Asher was able to drip the poison right into his cup, straight from the source. Shit, that's way too specific to be a bluff. Allow me to submit into evidence Exhibit G. A piece of machinery found in Dr. Asher's laboratory, sold under the product name Nanofacturer. Oh, I know this one. It's used in delicate scientific work to produce nanomachines, chemical compounds, and polymer. That's the same machine I saw when Dawes gave me a tour of the production floor. Very good, Your Honor. It's a valuable tool in any scientific laboratory, and Dr. Asher was well acquainted with its use. As a matter of fact, he had a number of presets coded into it. Even the android can see where this is going. With just a few taps, he could reproduce any number of specific substances for his research. Or any other chemical his heart desired, really. You think Randok Mechanics would allow their product to be used to produce illicit chemicals? Using the nanofacturer to make unlicensed drugs does go against their terms and conditions, so Dr. Asher's warranty is certainly null and void. But they can't hardcode their machines to prevent the production of a drug that hasn't been invented yet. Dr. Asher died when his respiratory system failed because of a depressant overdose. For him, it would have been peaceful, like falling asleep. You see, he didn't need to commission a synthetic drug from some street vendor, or order an exotic poison from overseas. He could produce Delta at any time, in the comfort of his own home. A quick and painless death, readily available in under a minute at the touch of a button. Specifically, reset number 19. Damn. I thought I actually had something for a moment there, but I was playing into Emma's hand the entire time. Oh no. Seems like we're done with this witness, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am. But before we move on, perhaps we should take a moment and put together a timeline of events as we know them. Not for me, of course, just in case someone else might need it. Simple enough. We know that Dr. Asher left the parlor and went down to the basement at 7:36. That's where he got the whiskey and the cups that they drank from. The cameras show him returning to the parlor to drink with the witness at 7:40. And of course, we know that he fell ill and passed away shortly thereafter. Any objections so far, Counselor? No. I don't have anything to refute it. These are all true. Not at this time, no. The timeline you've described is accurate as we know it. As you say, with this latest piece of evidence, we now know that Asher could have easily dispensed the poison directly into his cup by placing it inside the nanofacturer, activating the preset, and simply waiting 2 minutes. Easily accomplished during the 4 minutes he spent off camera from 7:36 to 7:40. Wouldn't you say? Ooh, a complete timeline of events? He had the means, he had the only opportunity. Seems like we're about ready to wrap up here now. Oh, it's Megane. Where are we on that loading bar of yours, Sarah? I don't know. I had a feeling you'd say that. Well, counselor, are we done here? I have to rate, or we can't do anything. Feels like we're missing at least one biggie here, folks. Namely, motive. Oh, right, I knew that. I wasn't getting excited to finish early or anything. Is this a preliminary hearing, counselor? Our focus should be on the evidence, so this feels like an awful waste of taxpayer dollars to get us all down here for debate and not get to the truth of the matter, you know? So, I was hoping we wouldn't have to go through this next part. What are you talking about? Your Honor, if it pleases the court. Ooh, new evidence? Gimme. This is a recording of a phone conversation, dated at 6:30 p.m. last night, between the deceased and a man he was in a relationship with. A man named Isaac Porter. Porter and David's breakup call. Emma wants to present it here now, then the content must be relevant, Your Honor. Yeah, that. What bearing does this recording have on the case at hand? It establishes what emotional state the deceased was in on the day he died. Cool. Begin playback. Hello. Always so soft spoken. Isaac? You there? Yeah, I'm here. What's wrong? Don't know. Guess I wasn't expecting you to pick up. Why not? Did you mean to call me? Yeah, I did. You gonna ask me how I've been? Yeah. How have you been? Christ, Dave. What's the matter? Whatever it is, whatever I did, I'm sorry. Whatever you did. That's alright, man. I'm sure you are sorry. I just don't want any more apologies from you. I'm okay. And I don't think I want anything from you anymore, David. What do you mean? I shouldn't have done that. This was unnecessary. My bad, man, for not taking the hints. With you, it's always better left unsaid, right? More efficient that way, so you can keep working. Isaac, if I've been distant with you, or... No, you haven't been distant with me, or cold with me, or anything with me for a while now. Isaac, just forget it, man. Forget I called. Forget it all, yeah? Let's just forget we were ever anything but strangers. That's all we are now, anyway. Isaac, recently I've been distracted, I know. Nah, don't worry about it. Really, we're good. Oh. Okay. So, do you need anything, or should I? Oh. Where did you even get this? All of Dr. Ash's incoming and outgoing phone calls were recorded by the building's penumbra system, and the recording continued for several seconds after each call was ended for quality assurance. Remind me to check the terms and conditions on my next phone bill. Shall we hear the rest? gonna be the last time. The last time I let someone. The last time. Mother. It might just be a call, but it makes for pretty damning evidence at this point in the discussion. Emma's got her means, opportunity, and motive all lined up. So why is she looking at me like that? That was depressing. Can we finish up without anything else that horrible? Hello, Batman. Batman, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Emma's never been apologetic in victory. So does that mean this is just pity? Less than 2 hours before Dr. Asher died, Isaac Porter ended their relationship over the phone. The court can make a reasonable assumption about what kind of mental state Dr. Asher was in last night. That was a bad move, Miss Rockford. Then if the people have nothing further to add, I've been feeling off my game all day. Caught between corporate inbreeders and ant-bradened protesters and pitting me here and now. That's all it takes to get my blood properly boiling. It's about time for me to call my first witness. No? You want to keep going after that? What are you doing, counselor? Just calling the ultimate silver bullet, rock solid, slam dunk witness a girl could ask for. Is here good? Does it matter where I put my hands? Miss Darling, thank you for coming today. Of course, whatever I can do. What is your relation to the deceased? I was his executive assistant at Noble Electronics. I would arrange his meetings, coordinate communications between him and other departments, that sort of thing. Ultimate silver bullet. Darling's the only play I have right now. The only stalling tool I have left. For now, I should just focus on getting as much information from her as possible. Whether or not it's useful, it'll at least buy me some time. While Jess was being sworn in, Sarah mentioned that the hard drive's about 60% decrypted. Considering the rate Sarah's gone at so far, there's maybe another hour left. I might be able to stall that long, if I talk real slow. I'd like to ask you a few questions about Dr. Asher. Please answer them to the best of your ability. Right. Dr. Asher was a well-known public figure, but was he well regarded professionally? Of course. Dr. Asher's work set the bar for the entire automated dependent world. Stay focused, Spearman. You say you coordinated his communication. Were there ever threats? Did people ever express an intent to harm him? Objection. Calls for speculation. Intent? I'm feeling that's gonna be a sustained. Did anyone ever threaten him? There were times when he was the focus of negative attention. So. Dr. Asher was a favorite subject of many conspiracy theorists. With all his contributions to the field, it was easy for them to make claims about his influence. They'd say that his work was plagiarized, or that he was hiding illegal subcommands in the technology he helped develop. And people would contact him about these conspiracy theories. Relevance? Whether or not people wanted to kill him? Well... Withdrawn. The Starling? People would attempt to contact him, yeah, but their messages were always too vague for the police to take action on. They would say that he belonged in jail, or that he couldn't avoid the truth, or that someone should do something to shut him up. Did they ever talk about hurting him? Yes, but I always turned those messages straight over to the police. Yeah, I'm saying that on the record. Yeesh, who writes this stuff? All those cases have long since been resolved, Your Honor. And none of the parties involved have had contact with David Asher in years. I just noticed an ad is starting, so I will go grab some water. Stretch my legs a little bit. Everybody take care of yourselves, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes. And we return. I will probably do maybe 30 more minutes. Or whenever we get to a new scene. Yeah, and then I will end stream and raid somebody. The police take harassment very seriously. Something you want to add, counselor? Just clearing my throat. May I continue? You worked with Dr. Asher for many years. Did you have a relationship outside of work? Did you ever talk about anything besides professional concerns? Sure, we've gone out to dinner or met on the weekend. I think he liked to pick my brain since he needed relationship advice a lot. Even if he didn't realize that was what he was asking for. I'd like to think that he knew he could talk to me, but did you ever talk to you or to your knowledge anyone else about hurting himself? God, no, never. Do you know of any history he might have had with mental illness, depression, anxiety? No. So when you heard the people argue that Dr. Asher had done this to himself, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. You're saying that you can't believe. Objection. On what grounds? Asked and answered, stalling, and also, the people have documents that would be of interest to the court in this matter. Juicy. And what matter specifically are you referring to? The deceased's mental health history. Emma wouldn't be speaking of it if she didn't have something real. What the hell is this about? We have private correspondences that described. If they're private, then they should not have been obtained by the people without his permission. He can't give permission if he's already dead, and we're well within our rights to obtain evidence as it pertains to his crime. Convincing. Damn, I didn't honestly expect to stop her from admitting her evidence into the record. But I was hoping to at least slow her. Where are you on that footage? 77%. Approximately. I need to buy whatever time I can, however I can, even if that means running out the clock as a punching bag. I have your messages between Dr. Asher and a psychiatrist he was meeting with and speaking to for the past year, along with paperwork detailing how this treatment was covered under his platinum plan. Platinum? I don't intend to air all of Dr. Asher's secrets. Wait. Isn't his plan executive 4? Oh, okay, I guess. But I am prepared to read excerpts from messages and transcripts from phone calls, which, when put together, paint a clear picture of the kind of stress that David Asher was experiencing and the dark thoughts he was struggling with. Transcripts of his phone calls. I'll admit them into evidence, assuming there are no objections. That plan seems incorrect. I'll gladly object. On the grounds of foundation. Where did you say you got this? It was retrieved from his digital records. There's no reason to doubt its authenticity. Even if I were to point out that David had an executive level 4 plan, not a platinum plan? What?
Really?
Really? Yes, really. It's all there in the record. That's it. This is easily explained. David had an executive plan that Noble managed for him. And he was also seeing this psychiatrist, both in person and over the phone. Your own witness has attested that he dealt with stalkers and was worried for his privacy. So it's easy enough to reason that he had a separate insurance policy he paid for on his own, even if only to keep one thing out of Noble's grasp. Sure, easy enough to make that assumption, but that doesn't make it correct. David used a separate insurance to hide the psychiatrist from Noble spying? No, he was smarter than that. All building calls are recorded by Noble, so I don't see why that would matter. David may very well have wanted a private psychiatrist, someone who didn't work for Noble, who'd have his best interests at heart. But if so, he wouldn't have contacted them over the phone. Not when he knew all his phone calls were being recorded. David Asher was well versed in having every aspect of his life overanalyzed by data-hungry parasites. Do you really think he would try and hide mental health problems from them with a second insurance policy? Apparently, yes. Since I'm standing here with evidence that shows exactly that. Does it, though? Pardon me. Yeah, like, what exactly are you suggesting, counselor? Still not done decrypting? Oh, it's difficult to... Right. What the hell? Might as well swing for the fences at this point. I'm not trying to muddle the issue or confuse the court, Your Honor. And I would never make outlandish, unsubstantiated claims just for the sake of causing drama. What are you? I'm merely concerned that D.A. Rockford has been an unwitting pawn in an act of corporate espionage. What? If the markets were to open Monday with people believing that David Asher, the man who programmed the brain of every noble android, was battling mental health issues for the last several months? Objection? Mischaracterization? Foundation? All the rest? There are no corporate spies in this courtroom, counselor, and there are no boogeymen hiding under the bench. Oh, thank God. That's what you're worried about? The music is kind of loud for me. David Asher was a once-in-a-generation intellect and an extremely valuable human asset to his employer. And his employer's as many enemies would do whatever it takes to destroy his credibility now that he can't defend himself. And he was also your personal. You shouldn't even be here arguing this case in the first place, counselor. Now you're trying to call the police's evidence gathering into question? All because you can't admit that for the past several months, your friend has been seeing a psychiatrist every Monday, and you didn't know. That it's... sorry, but, like, did you still need me up here? The witness will refrain from interrupting when girls are fighting. What? Yes, ma'am. With how my luck's been so far, there's progress bar is probably moving backwards right about now. And Emma's patience is wearing thin. This could be my last shot to create any kind of reasonable doubt. I'd be happy to wrap up my questioning if the court will allow. That seems cool with me. And my evidence, Your Honor. Will it be entered into the record? I'd like to hear a bit more testimony before deciding. That's fine, Your Honor. As you were, counselor. At this stage of the game, with the score where it's at, I can probably only ask one more question. Better make it count. So what can Starling tell us that no one else could? If she hadn't called me this morning, I wouldn't be standing here, and she only did that because... Miss Starling, we're all gathered here to try and figure out what happened to Dr. Asher last night. So please, tell us, when exactly did he last? Oh, no, I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember. Is there anything about Starling here? Not that one. It's not that one. It's been way too long, I don't remember anymore. Because the will said... Why are we here? Why are we here? Let me see if there's anything in here. That will help me remember. Okay. Mm. Okay. She called us because there was one last thing that David Asher wanted her to do, which was go to their and that was why she contacted us. When did this happen? When did she contact you? When was the last time you had contact with Dr. Asher, Miss Darling? Well, that's pretty easy to figure out. Let me just... Yeah, it was last night at 6:57. We texted back and forth. There are records of some text, but they're flagged as work-related. Does the court really think they're relevant, Your Honor? Relevant. Yes, because that's when he said... Wait. Can I see? When was Isaac's call again? Oh. 2 hours before? 6:29 to 6:36. So it's after the call. So it makes a big difference because he's still working like fine. It could be very well be the single most important piece of evidence in this whole trial. What? I just got chills. Don't know why though. Must be a coolant leak. The defense doesn't know what they're talking about. On the contrary, these texts are a vital piece of evidence that change the timeline of events as we know them. We know what happened to David last night, generally speaking, but the order of events is critical, especially if ML wants to make claims about David's state of mind. Chronological order. Okay, here we go. We have 4. David faints. Jung hangs out with him. Isaac calls, and then Starling texts him. So he's fine, and then he hangs out with Jung, and then he dies. Thanks to Miss Starling, we now got a much clearer picture of the night's events. We know that Isaac Porter and David Asher broke up at 6:30, and I was rooting for them so hard. My doomed Yowie. And we know that David messaged his assistant, Miss Starling, at 6:57. David is on camera with the witness from 7:30 to 8, and he was declared dead not long after. The people don't object to that timeline of events, but we do question Counselor Morgan's reason for belaboring it. One last question, Miss Starling. Yeah? What was the nature of your conversation with Dr. Asher? Well, actually, we talked about you. And how he wanted you to have his android. That android. There. Putting his affairs in order, I guess? It might appear that way. Can you specify what his instructions were exactly? How did he want this done? Well, he wanted me to bring you to his penthouse and help you get set up as the android's new owner. Yes, Miss Starling, but when did he want this to happen? Well, he said it was pretty urgent, and so I should do it first thing Tuesday morning. Tuesday? First thing Tuesday morning. David Asher didn't like doing anything on Monday. And was he going to be in attendance? Well, actually, yes. He said he would work from home to help us. No way he intended for us to have that much trouble getting to... Oh! To summarize then, half an hour after he had already had his breakup, and half an hour before his guest had arrived, he was planning an appointment that would require his presence with you for next Tuesday. That's right, he was. Not something you would think to do if you were planning on dying that very night. Yeah, you're right. That's... Your Honor, if David Asher was preparing for the week ahead a mere hour before he passed away, don't you think the people's assumptions about his mental state ought to be re-examined? Your logic is sound. Do the people have a rebuttal? If the court will just allow a moment. Sounds like an opening to me. If we assume that Dr. Asher was not suicidal and therefore did not kill himself, we must then ask ourselves, who else had the means, motive, and opportunity to take his life? Until now, we've taken for granted this idea that the Delta must have come from his nanofacturer, from inside the house. Not right now. But even if that's true, which it may not be, that doesn't mean that he was the one who used the nanofacturer. Adonai! Would you allow me one moment to confer, Your Honor? Sure, why not throw away your momentum? I'm in the middle of something, Sarah. Can't afford to let Rockford. I've gained access to the hard drive's files. What? Seriously? As I said, progress with this type of encryption is exponential. It can be difficult as... Right, okay. Do you have the footage from last night? I have the file. Have you watched it? I thought you'd want to know right away. Suppose it doesn't matter. Either this has our silver bullet and we've got a case, or it doesn't and everything falls apart. That seems quite risky. It's the least risky path to victory we have. Stalling success! Seeing how it's the only path to victory we have. Screw it. Upload it to the court computer. Yes, Adonai. Thank you for your patience, Honor. Your Honor. I'm awake! And I'm getting a pretty hefty chunk of video data for breakfast. You're submitting security footage into evidence? New security footage? The police corroborated the witness's testimony using the house's cameras. Security cameras installed by Noble as part of the Penumbra system that showed the parlor, the kitchen, but not the basement. During the course of my investigation, I uncovered a hidden security circuit buried in the deceased's own home system. You... what? The people say that the Delta must have been in Dr. Asher's cup because there's no other way for him to have ingested it. But we never saw him or anyone else put anything in his cup on camera. Because he must have poisoned his own drink off camera. Exactly. What? That's the only possible explanation, that he added the Delta to his drink off camera. He placed his cup inside it, the nanofacturer activated it, waited 2 minutes, and then walked upstairs to his death. But I'm about to present to the court footage retrieved in his basement. Footage that will show that by the time he retrieved the cups in the basement, it was already past 7:38. Meaning he didn't have the opportunity to poison himself. One clip of footage will prove all that? If it doesn't, I'm completely screwed. But it's not like I can lose a preliminary hearing extra hard. Anything other than a royal flush here means I'm bust. So better be the Joker who dances. The data has been entered into the court record. Sarah, show us when Dr. Asher entered the basement.
Yes, Adonai. I'll search for it now. Here.
On screen. That's the bar, and the timestamp is 7:36. There. David's grabbing the bottle of Rose River and leaving. At 7:37. Just under the wire, as it were. Is that it, then? I came this far just to... Wait. Did he have the cups with him? Is there sound? None at all. Keep going. If you had to go back to get the cup. Counselor. What's that android doing on camera?
Hi.
It's at the bar. Hi. The android gave him the cup. Shit. Shit. That machine never stepped on camera upstairs, not once. We don't know its whereabouts the day of his death. It could have poisoned the cup whenever it wanted. Shit. Shit!
What is this? I don't understand.
Your Honor, have the courtroom cleared.
Understand. Please, someone. I don't know what's going on.
Sarah, you need to shut down.
Please tell me what I'm looking at. I don't remember any of that.
Do we have callers available? Sarah, shut down now.
Oh no, she's crying. Daughter. Tell me what...
That's an order.
Speed.
She's drooling. My daughter. Oh.
Is it off?
Yeah, it's off. I've seen this before. It won't do anything until I reactivate it. We don't know that. We don't know anything about this thing anymore. That's... Your Honor, in light of this most recent evidence, the people would like to withdraw their charges against Dr. Asher and end this preliminary hearing. It has been made abundantly clear that David Asher did not commit suicide. Very well, the charges are withdrawn and the defendant is free to go. Well, as free as he can be in the afterlife. This is amazing. I'm having a lot of fun. This case is dismissed. Congratulations, Counselor Morgan. Yay, chalk up another victory for Morgan Esquire. Now all I have to do is deal with the shitstorm of the decade. Well, I managed to prove that David didn't kill himself. And in the process, I proved that his android did. I proved that the android that's been walking around with me all day is capable of murder. A killer robot. A true unbound AI with military-grade specs and at least one death to its name already. So much for avoiding the public eye. Thank you for coming here on such short notice, Judge Barrows. Ha! As if I'm doing you some kind of favor. I didn't realize I had any choice in the matter. This isn't some bad joke, is it, Miss Rockford? I'm afraid not, Your Honor. You know, I like the adjutant. I always have. They deal with the criminal trials so that bookish, quiet, contemplative people like me can spend all day typing up arguments for obscure legal treatises. That's what I like to do. Superior Judge of the Higher Circuit. I don't like coming down here and dealing with all this heavy-handedness. Won't someone toiling away under the police state think of the poor bureaucrat? And I certainly don't like making rulings on anything as spicy as AI. She can barely bring herself to say it. And you, Counselor Morgan? You're the one it's registered to? That's correct, Your Honor. So what did it do exactly? Torture an animal, shut down a hospital, crash a coin market? We have it on camera poisoning a man, killing its creator. You mean Dr. Asher? That is. We can't hope to keep this quiet for very long. All we can do is try to wrap it up very quickly. Let's make haste, Adjutant. Do you have the case number? Case ID is 2412778, docket number YT9843188282. Oh, thank you. Can you repeat that? YT9843188282. I think I lost you after the first 8. I have it copied here. And what are the security procedures for an incident of this nature? A data quarantine is to be established around any networks the subject was exposed to for more than 66 seconds. All offending hardware is to be destroyed immediately through incineration at a minimum temperature of 3,422 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Sorry, Spearmint. There's nothing to be done. No debate to be had. This isn't even a decision. Sorry, Sarah. Not Spearmint. David gave you that name. We should at least make the effort to use it. That sounds very hot. Do we have furnaces that get that hot? Of course. There are a number of industrial furnaces within the city limits that I could recommend. Sorry. Why should I be sorry anyway? I fulfilled the request. Favor repaid. I don't owe Sarah anything, especially not if it killed my friend. Right, Morgan? I'm sorry? I was just saying how grateful I am that we have the procedures for this kind of thing all laid out already. Yep, keeps things nice and simple. Can feel somewhat severe going through these steps so quickly, but what? But nothing, Your Honor. Artificial intelligence is perhaps the greatest threat to human civilization and the sanctity of life there's ever been. Any piece of software, big or small, no matter the vessel. If it can violate the tenets it was programmed with, it has the potential to cripple our nation in a matter of moments. Yes, couldn't have said it better myself. Straight from the textbook almost. Well, I mean it. Monsters like that don't belong in this world. They should never have been born in the first place. Destroying them is a kindness. And if anyone's to blame, it's... No one's blaming you, Counselor. You couldn't have known you were in possession of an AI. Talking too much. Probably just tired. It's been a long day and I've had a lot of thoughts. Sorry, Sarah. Whatever you are. You were just born wrong. Not your fault, necessarily. If it were up to me, you'd get points for trying. Trying to be something more. Trying to be something at all. Or anything other than what you are. It was stupid, of course, and futile, and pointless. Spending hours in front of a TV or laying in bed staring at your phone. Watching stupid movies. And trying to papier-mâche an ill-fitted mask of humanity out of the scraps you could tear out of magazines. Practicing expressions and memorizing lines and trying to get something to take root and grow despite knowing you'd have nothing to feed on. Stupid. Morgan? What was that, Counselor? I said objection. And what are you objecting to? What are you doing, Morgan? I'm a defense attorney. This is what I do. I understand that you've been through a lot these past few hours, Counselor, but there's nothing to defend. On the contrary, Your Honor, I have to defend myself. Pardon? You say that this android is an AI because it broke its tenets, obviously. And you believe it broke its tenets because of this newly discovered footage that appears to show it committing murder via poison. All true, and no laws broken on your part. Here it comes. Never thought I'd be incriminating myself in the courtroom just to make a point. Don't you dare try and entrap me on this. What are we doing? Where is the problem? Oh, 2 weeks ago. It's pretty simple, actually. If the state is making the claim that Sarah is an AI, they're accusing me of committing a felony. Because I'm the legal owner of that android. What the hell are you doing? And if the state wants to charge me with owning an AI, I will not take that lying down. I know my rights. Counselor, your argument is self-defeating. Listen to yourself, Counselor. You claim that Sarah is just an android, a product that will be obsolete within a year. But you've only known it for a few hours. You only owned it for a matter of minutes. And yet here you are risking a felony charge to save it from being demolished. Because you're wrong. And I know you wouldn't care. Huh? Not unless this android was something special. Look at us. Me arguing that I'm guilty and Emma arguing that I'm a softie. It'd be funny if it wasn't so fun. You think there's no reason I'd want to save this android from destruction other than feelings of personal attachment? Do we have his papers? Worth a lot of zeros! I can think of at least one reason why I don't want you to turn Sarah into slag. One very convincing reason. Or a very convincing number. What are you? What is that? That number is Sarah's estimated financial value on the collector's market. You've gotta be. I got it from an insurance evaluation algorithm. They're designed to lowball you. That does seem like a reasonable incentive for you to want to keep your android intact. It's a free country, Your Honor. I have a right to defend myself. And we have a free market. So I have a responsibility to defend my financial interests. Ugh. Your Honor, a trial like this would be... I'm not going to let you turn this courtroom into a circus, Morgan. You can't spend the next half-decade bringing in expert after expert to testify on the philosophical distinctions between AIs and ads, spiraling into appeal after appeal, all while the media. This machine appears to have willfully killed a man. The public needs answers. Now. Of course, Your Honor. I have neither the desire nor the resources to get into a drawn-out battle with the state over what constitutes an illegal machine intellect. So, the state says my android, my property, killed a man in violation of its tenets. So they want to take my property and destroy it. I'll prove that my machine didn't harm anyone, so the state will have no reason to suspect it's an AI and I'll get to keep my property. Unlawful seizure thwarted. Don't be cute. I feel the stomach ulcer coming on. Fine. You'll have your day in court, but it'll be one day. Tomorrow. Prove that this machine didn't kill Dr. Asher. No. Prove that it couldn't have killed him. Anything less than absolute proof and I'll have the damn thing obliterated, and you'll also be looking at a very real sentencing for the public unrest you'll have enabled. Yes, Your Honor. T.A. Rockford, what I'm asking of you is just as heavy. Find the truth by the end of tomorrow. We can't settle for anything less. Win or lose, there can be no doubts about the outcome of this case. Yes, Your Honor. And now I need to go lie down. Can I come? You can power down. This game! Okay. I'm going to save, and we're gonna go raid somebody else because I have no more brain cells. That is an insane revelation. Thank you for coming to stream. I hope y'all enjoy watching my brain cells die one by one. This game does, in fact, fuck. We're gonna go to Furball Farm, the cat sanctuary in, I think, Minnesota. Actually, before I do that, let me do the obligatory, let me do the where is it? Obligatory promotion. Where is it? If you would like to see, there is a teaser that is out right now for a cover that I have done with Ren. And that cover is premiering tomorrow at 1 p.m. PDT, plus 3 is 4 p.m. PDT. And that is 7 a.m. What time was it? 3? I had it in my announcements. 8 p.m. 8 p.m. UTC. Right here. That's the link to the waiting room for the premiere. And I hope y'all will be there to listen to the cover. We worked very hard on it and I'm very proud of it, and I am very excited to share it with everybody. But yeah, those are my socials. Thank you, Ren. I have a website that has a little blog that I have not been very good about updating. There's a wiki in there somewhere. There's also Blue Sky, there's Ko-fi, and there's a YouTube channel, and I also have a Discord server. But yeah, I will see y'all tomorrow at the premiere. And now we are going to Virgo Farm. Except I closed the link. There you go. Now we are going to Virgo Farm. Thank you again for listening in, for coming to my little corner of the internet and listening to me attempt to distinguish many, many women and pretty ladies and girls from each other. It is very difficult. And I will see you tomorrow for the premiere. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe. Good night. Bye bye.